Now, look, there's been a lot of complaining over the course of the last 24 hours after the NCAA Selection Committee came out and the field of 64, 68 was announced. And, the thing is, I've never been a field of 96 guy, change the tournament here.
Amen.
But this is what's gone on in the last 24 hours. I can't even get myself to be that upset about it because I have just conditioned myself to knowing that the committee is going to suck. Every year, the committee is going to suck. And this goes beyond, hey, when you're arguing whether you're the 64th, because you're not the 64th best team. You're talking about being the top 30 because of all the automatic bids that go to conferences that clearly many of them don't belong in the tournament, right? So not say, 64. No, it's different than we're talking about college football where, top 4, top 5
It's a 68 team field, so let's say minus 20. So, top 40 or 50 realistically.
And I get that we're talking about, okay, this is where you're at. You can't complain. In theory, that's true. Except, again, my first point, the committee sucks. And they've always sucked, and here's why. It's different from everything else. Right? You want to compare to what we saw in college football this last year. What was it? Miami doesn't make it. Well, okay, you could easily say when you're talking about being the 12th best team in the country, win more games. Don't lose to Syracuse the last week of the season.
A little bit different than
lose that, right?
Florida State with the injury the year before, right. Only a 4-team playoff.
You're talking the difference between 4 and 5 is a hell of a lot closer than the difference between you 12 and 13. Like, okay, now you're talking about which of these 2 or 3 lost teams do we let in, right?
So they said that North Carolina was the last team in.
Yeah.
That's a play-in game against San Diego State. They're each 11 seeds on that line.
But here's why the committee sucks, right? And this is why. It's because every year they put forth whatever agenda they want. Whatever they want to do that year, they find a way to make the argument work for these teams. This year, clearly, what did they want to do? They wanted to put basically everybody from the SEC in, which is ridiculous. You can't go 6-12 in conference and go to the NCAA. I'm sorry, I don't care how good your conference is.
Thank you.
You can't go 6-12 and get to the tournament. You had 2 teams.
It's kind of like
that, right?
The North Carolina argument that's coming. Go ahead.
So, and they wanted North Carolina in and they wanted Texas in, right? Why do I compare these teams? Now, I understand the NCAA tournament is a television show. The SEC is a very popular conference. North Carolina is very popular on television. Texas is very popular on television. I understand that. But, they wanted, every year the committee decides this is the narrative we want. We put in the teams we want to put in. How do I know this? Because every year it changes what the committee says they value for a team.
2 new metrics this year.
I'm going to change because for a long time it was about, you have to have the net ranking, right? But then some teams don't have great net rankings, but it doesn't matter. They find a way to get in, right? The net ranking is a big deal. Quad 1 wins, which is where I'm coming to. Quad 1 wins are a big deal. Big deal, big deal. Texas is in with 15 losses. With 15 losses, Texas is in. Why? Because of the Quad 1 schedule.
By the way, that ties for the most losses by an at-large team to earn a bid.
You can't lose 15 games and get into the end. I'm sorry, you can't lose it. But all the big wins Texas had. Meanwhile, North Carolina gets in, and what's their record in Quad 1 wins? 1-12. So how do you say, yes, North Carolina deserves to get? Do you feel bad because, if they didn't have the lane violation, maybe they would have beat Duke on Friday? Oh, that's so sad. I mean, the NCAA Selection Committee, they simply find the argument that works for them, and they say it. Right? It's like they're like politicians that say, hey, whatever I said I was going to do or not going to do, whatever I say, I'm going to put a spin on these numbers, to get it so I look good as a result. Meanwhile, I don't look good, but I'm going to spin it that way. This is what the committee does. They decide to take whatever criteria matters to them in that moment to make it work for the teams they want to put in. And that's why it's a load of crap. And I've kind of gotten to the acceptance point where I just know the committee's going to do this, right? I just know they're going to do this, and eventually changes are going to come because teams are going to get upset. It's not going to happen now, but changes are going to come eventually because you realize that this is just it's a lawless enterprise, right? College sports are lawless, top to bottom. College
good
football,
way to put it, yeah.
College basketball, lawless. The committees or the conferences can make whatever rules they want to. They can go on.
It's leaderless.
Yeah, and it's simply going to happen. That will continue to happen that way until someone says, hey, we've had enough, and we're going to change things.
It's
but
like
that's
boxing.
The way.
It's leaderless. Everybody, there's all this. It's the essential. It's this WBC is equal to this conference. The WBA, it's equal to that conference. There are all these governing bodies, and there's not a solid whole from the top down. What you mentioned about
and just like in boxing, there's all the different levels. We have the NCAA tournament, we have the NIT, we have the CBI,
champions in
we have
this
the
weight
WBA,
class.
the WBC. Yeah, we have the WNEW.
I'm sure there's going to be a very nice trophy for the college basketball crown at the end of the month in Vegas. But as far as Texas basketball this season, it used to be one of the metrics used by the committee was how did the team play in the final weeks of the season?
Right.
Are they a hot team going into March Madness?
And clearly
Apparently,
that doesn't matter because
doesn't matter
Auburn
anymore.
lost 3 out of 4. And
Exactly.
they still got
one overall seed.
Whatever they want to do, whatever narrative they want to push, this is what the committee does.
Like Texas, they had started 3 of 4 in concert, and then conference. They went 3 and 8 the rest of the time in conference.
Yeah,
so they get the value of just belonging to the SEC, but they didn't actually blow you away in the SEC. And in fact, I repeat, they lost most of their games for the last month and a half of the season.
Yeah, and nevertheless, and the optic also doesn't work that, hey, the chairman of the committee, North Carolina's AD, Bubba Cunningham, who was on the committee, and North Carolina gets in, and he says, oh, no, I wasn't in the room when they made the decision. First of all, I love the fact the guy's name is Bubba, and he's an AD. That's great. He's running a committee.
You think he likes shrimp?
Hey, Bubba. Yeah, fried shrimp, shrimp kebabs, shrimp in a basket, jumbo shrimp, shrimp in... and that's about all there is.
You think he likes golf?
I like, sure, I'm sure he does, sure. Bubba Watson, yeah. My dad's favorite golfer, Bubba Watson. By the way.
Really?
Oh, my dad loves Bubba Watson. Loves him.
That's odd.
But, like, this story is ridiculous because you can sit here and say, all right, yeah, he was out of the room, but he's working with everybody else on the committee. You really think they're not going to do him a solid and put his team in when he leaves the room for 15 minutes? Hey, Bubba, this has been awesome. You bought pizza for us every night for the last month and a half, and all. We know you get a bonus if the team goes to the NCAA tournament because what he's going to make like $65,000 or $75,000 as a bonus because North Carolina makes it into the NCAA tournament. Yeah, Bubba, thanks for everything you've done, man. Hey, yeah, but you leave the room for 15 minutes, and we're going to make sure that hey, no one's going to get any favoritism. I mean, come on, of course there's going to be favoritism. The guy's working with the committee every day. I go to the bathroom for 15 minutes. I come back. Hey, guess what? I mean, we're in the tournament. Okay, that's great. Bad optics. Again, it's lawless when people who are from schools are making decisions on this. That's what I mean.
There's no independence.
I've punted. I've hit the acceptance level of you know what, this is just how the committee's going to do it until somebody gets sick enough and fosters change, until they piss off the wrong team or the wrong group of teams, and then we get real change. Now, it's not going to be West Virginia, as mad as they are. This is not going to be the team that does it. It's going to have to be when blue bloods get left out of a tournament for whatever reason, and that's going to foster change because that's
like South Alabama not getting in the NIT.
Yeah, oh, come on, how do you not let South Alabama in? But like that's because that's what happens in sports. When something happens to the Yankees or the Dodgers, rule changes are made. Right? When something happens to the Rays, there's no rule changes made. When something happens to the Patriots or the Chiefs, rule changes are made. But it's not when something happens to the Bills and Josh Allen, you don't get a first down. The MVP of the NFL, we have a big change. But it only happens when it happens to big teams. And you need heritage teams or teams that are pissed off enough to stir up a hornet's nest and say, okay, this has to be different. Whether it's going to be expanding the tournament to go to 96 teams, but we haven't hit that point yet, but eventually we will. And I just, look, maybe that's me and I feel bad that I'm like, I'm accepting what's going on. Yeah, because I know I have no control and I know the committee's going to do this every single year. They're just going to put out whatever agenda they want and they're going to put those teams in the tournament every single year, and it's going to be inconsistent from year to year, and now from team to team. What we like quad 1 wins. Oh wait, we don't mind about quad 1 wins if you don't have them. Okay, that's great. Oh, we got it. Oh no, we don't mind about that. Yeah, Texas, we like them. North Carolina, you know what? Let's just not field questions about those two teams at the same time, and that really hurts our argument right here.